Daddy Bench has tied it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in 4 straight. It was a sweep.
In the dirt, it's a wild pitch. Here comes Boston. The Reds win the pennant.
Duncan's won the game.
That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none.
Welcome, Joe Randa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again.
Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Chatterbox is a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded. The outfield deep and around toward right to the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on. Long drive. Right field. And this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive. Hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club.
Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb.
Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again.
The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive. Left center field. Racing back to the Laurent Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! He did! Reds win! Win! Line to the right field. Genius, the first Red ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Does it have a chance? The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first and Homer Bailey for the second time in his major league career has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win it. What a dream beginning to a career of Jay Bruce.
Here we are. We've made it. I have no clue, Nick, if I can hear you yet or not. I assume I'm going to be able to, but
Sounds good.
we finally have made some effort to try to get better. So we have pleased what I think is maybe a small portion of the fan base. However, I also feel like there's probably going to be some folks that are going to bring up this guy doesn't solve much on the offensive end. Key Brian Hayes is headed to Cincinnati for, I believe, Rogers and Sammy Stafura. Nick, you can correct me if I'm wrong on any of those details right now, but I just walked through the door. I looked at my phone. I see Nick say, hey, I sent a link. That means you got to check the internet. I did the internet thing as fast as I could, and here we are.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up. Of course, our other social media guy is, doing life right now. So trying to get graphics up everywhere, trying to get a live stream scheduled. So I haven't really checked a whole lot of the details yet. But, when stuff like this happens, people want us to be live as soon as possible. So we try to be men of the people. But,
Right.
yeah, this is a wild one. I heard this rumor, and, it makes sense why the Reds would want to add Ke'Bryan Hayes. I mean, he is, I think pretty clearly the best defensive third baseman in the sport. So you start off with that, Trace. Let's start off talking about the defensive impact, because the Cincinnati Reds defensive infield is right now as good as probably we've ever seen in our lives. I mean, with Hayes at third base, Elly De La Cruz at shortstop, and Elly, since the first 2 months of the year, has been pretty good. I think he's been playing a pretty good shortstop, and you don't have to squint to see the ceiling just being immensely higher than that. Matt McClain's played really good defense at second base, and Spencer Steers played good defense at first base. So, for a team that is built right now around pitching, their defense is, now I wouldn't say elite, because I still think we saw last night some of the outfield deficiencies, but they're definitely an above average overall defense. And it's the first time you can say that about the Cincinnati Reds since 2019. So it's been that long since the Reds had an above average defense, and they have that right now. That's where you start with Hayes. The nice thing is his floor is high. I mean, this guy has been an atrocious hitter this year, and he still is almost worth a win above replacement. That's how good his defense is. So he doesn't have to hit very well. He doesn't have to hit great to be a very valuable player.
He's been bad the last 2 years now. Basically, last year was a poor year offensively. This year's been a poor year relatively offensively, although it was better than last year's if you want to look at trends, I guess. But he's been a league average hitter earlier in his career as well. So it's not like he doesn't have at least a little bit of a higher ceiling, in my opinion, offensively than he's been showcasing the last 2 years. But as you mentioned before, defense is the main priority with him. The reality too now is that the Reds probably have some position flexibility on what they want to do in future years with some guys. I know that I'm not going to start the song and dance on, what do you do with Elly in future years? What do you do with McClain in future years? What do you do with maybe if somebody else comes up like Sal Stewart, unless they trade him in the next day? You had mentioned you think he plays a really good second base there. So it does offer the Reds some opportunities to start moving some pieces. They've already clearly, as I said in some previous shows, believe that Marte is going to have to play the outfield for him to probably be a part of this team. And that's what is obvious now. I mean, now it's
a right fielder now.
Now he is in right field. The question is like, how much grace are they going to show Marte in the corner outfield spots this year? Because quite frankly, he needs to be in the lineup. They don't have enough pieces. They don't have enough players that have the upside that Marte has offensively to sit him. So he's going to have to play the outfield now. And we can't get ourselves into a spot, Nick, and I think it showcased itself last night. And maybe I don't want to say this has pushed him over the proverbial hump, and Nick Krall was beside himself last night. But like, you can't keep trying to play this defensive replacement game on half your damn roster in the sixth inning of a baseball. Like, you can't do that. Now, I'm all for maybe a defensive replacement in the ninth inning if you have a 2-run lead or something along the lines where you feel really confident that you're going to be able to hold the lead. But maybe I should save some of this stuff for the show, and it has nothing to do with Ke'Bryan Hayes. But I just think that this showcases that it's a priority from the defensive side. And the question now becomes, what do they want to do offensively to try to maybe shore up some of the inefficiencies that side has? I don't know if you can do it at the deadline, but you know what is pretty obvious to me, Nick, is that they got a guy that has some controllable years. And I think that maybe they're going to make moves, Nick, that they think could possibly help them. If it's not this year, it's going to be for the following years, because let's face it, the percentage chance of this team, or the chance in general of this team making it to the postseason, is not relatively high enough for them to make very risky, what I would call, rental players. It is funny to see what Eugenio Suarez stock is now. I mean, I don't know how many more suitors he has left, but the Diamondbacks probably are running somewhat out of some options, but it only takes two to tango. So I guess that's where I'm at with this. They still have a lot of issues that need to be addressed. I don't know if Rogers leaving is addition by subtraction. Kind of feels like it for probably most of this fan base. And Barry Larkin's probably even more of a begrudging broadcaster as his guy Sammy Stafura heads out of town.
Well, I think Larkin's a big Hayes guy. I think he was friends with his dad, if I saw that correctly.
Maybe he's friends with everybody then. But
so he kind of
was his guy.
So we kind of trade for one. We'll talk about Stafura in a second. A guy that I did really like, and it definitely hurts to get rid of him. I didn't see. I don't know if it's final or the Reds taking on. If you saw if the Reds are taking on the full contract, and Rogers was just basically like to take a little bit of that.
Dump.
That was the salary that the Pirates were taking on.
I haven't seen anything in regards to the salary side of things. I'm sure the chat will let us know if let
us know if you see that's a big piece of this.
Yeah, I would say that I would hope they would take on a little bit, but
I would too, especially since you gave up a legitimate prospect. But that's a big piece of this deal that I haven't seen reported one way or the other.
Reds are taking the full contract based off of Daniel Sargent.
All right, well. A couple things just to kind of point out, and I'm kind of regurgitating things that other people have said online. But this is from our friend Resin4, and he was quote tweeting something from Sarah Lang. So Sarah Lang's posted the outs above average. Brian Hayes this season is at plus 15 outs above average. The next best in baseball is Matt Chapman at plus 4. So we have not seen this level of defense at third base. So it is going to be a stark difference. If you think Santiago Espinal is good, this is Santiago Espinal on crack cocaine playing defense. I mean, they're not even comparable players by any metric. So that is at a whole nother level. With Brian Hayes, he's had some injuries. It'll be interesting to see how much the Reds believe in the bat. I also saw a really interesting thing from Lance. I think you say his name. I don't know how to say his last. Lance Brozdowski. However you say that. I know he's a MLB Network draft analyst. And he says that Hayes is the most obvious. Pull more of your fly balls and line drives, guys, in baseballs. Hayes' pulled fastballs plus line drives rate is 19%. He goes to a park that inflates righty home runs, the second most in baseball. And he thinks that the Great American Ballpark profiles well to increase Brian Hayes' offense. So ultimately, we'll see on that. But this is what I wanted. I mean, this is what I wanted. I wanted you to kind of be buying low on a player that is not just for this year, that can actually have an impact. This might be a complete bust. Hayes may never hit a lick, and you may look up in a couple years and you know what, this wasn't. But this is the kind of guy that if he does figure out how to hit just a little bit better, he's an all-star.
He is an all-star if he can hit at league average. I mean, and that's the question of the day, is whether or not he's capable of doing that. And the other part of this too that I think everyone's getting upset about, because we clearly have currently in the state of the Reds situation right now an inefficiency on the offensive side. So people want that fixed, right? I guess what I would say to this move is I think we can all agree that there's no way in the world that the Reds front office feels like this move is going to help that. So let's not just assume that this is the end of their attempt to try to help that situation. Clearly it's not. I think what it ultimately has done, and also, by the way, before I forget, I think Rogers is a little bit of a salary dump. So, in a way, they probably found some suitor that was like, hey, we'll give you Rogers because we really don't want him, to be frank with you. We don't trust him. And you can take his money instead of us figuring out the financials of how much you're going to pay us basically to take on his salary. We'll just dump that. So I know it's not a lot, Nick, but it's something, to be fair. Having said that, they're not done, and they got a controllable piece. And I'll tell you this, I like the idea that you get a guy that, has trended in the wrong direction offensively, but it doesn't take you hard to squint and think to yourself that you might bounce back and be a player that we look back upon and say, who did we give up for him? And we say, well, we gave up Rogers, and we gave up a kid named Sammy Stafura that you never heard of before, unless you obviously, were someone that paid attention to the minor league system very, very well. It's just the Reds have depth at infield, in my opinion, in this organization. They just drafted a young kid. They also have obviously drafted plenty of shortstops that people always want to bring up. And the truth of the matter is that they have Ellie De La Cruz currently sitting in that position with Arroyo still sitting there. And you could even make the case that Matt McClain could play there as well. So it's not as if, Nick, they traded a position like a catcher, right? Like if they traded Duno, or even if they traded a let's call it a Chattanooga level type of catcher that we believed in, that would hurt a lot because you don't know if you're going to be able to maybe even replace that down the road. That's not a big concern of mine. And Stafura might end up being an all-star. I'm not trying to downplay what he means or how good he is, but I just think from a negativity standpoint, I get it. People are pissed off because they're like, oh, this is what we get. We're looking for a big bat and we get another Santiago Espinal. I mean, first of all, it's a little disrespectful to keep Ryan Hayes, to compare him to Espinal specifically. And sometimes you need to change the scenery, don't you, Nick? I remember Eugenio Suarez. I'm just saying, I do remember vividly. I was at a game where Eugenio Suarez was getting booed out of the stadium. He was like, nobody wanted him. They wanted him out of here. And the next thing you know, he's good again. Magic.
We'll talk more about Safura, about some of these other things, but in terms of talking about change of scenery, I've got a treat for us. I've got Kody Duncan. He's a writer for the Pittsburgh Pirates. We had him on Chatterbox Reds. I'm not sure if, Cody, you can hear us or not, but I wanted to hear about the change of scenery and what his thoughts were on Ke'Bryan Hayes. Cody, are you able to hear us?
Hear me?
Yes, hear you good. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I have no idea why my camera is not working, but as long as you guys can hear me, I guess that's all that matters.
We can hear you fine.
You look great, Cody.
He's a handsome guy. He is a handsome guy. So this is an unfortunate situation for us. But Cody, man, I seriously thank you so much for, in the middle of is it Wednesday? I don't know. Is it Wednesday, Trace? I don't know what day it is.
Yeah, I think it's Wednesday, Nick.
Jumping on and talking about this trade, because you cover the Pittsburgh Pirates kind of the same way we cover the Cincinnati Reds. You're a fan of the team. Tell us about Ke'Bryan Hayes, just the good, the bad, the ugly, everything.
Well, like you guys know, you're in the division. You see how he is defensively. I mean, he's one of the best defensive third basemen you're gonna see probably in the next decade. He's just that good. Anytime it's hit on that side of the field, we know he's going to get an out. So that's something you guys can definitely, rely on moving forward. And especially if you guys are going to be contending for a playoff spot, he's going to be very important for you. Especially if you get in the playoffs, defensively, you can count on him. Now, offensively, he's been pretty bad this year. I won't lie. I mean, he's batting .236. His on base, 279. His slug is what's really, really bad. It's 290 on the season. It was 290 last year, so that's kind of what I think that's what he is right now. He just has no pop. 2023 though, if you can somehow get a 2023 Ke'Bryan Hayes, then you guys have something. If you can unlock that, because we had so what happened in 2023? He ended up with 15 home runs, batted .271. Had an on-base percentage over 300, and his slug was .453. I mean, he was one of the better third basemen in the league at that time. And the thing was, he was actually struggling until the beginning of June that year. And he was what happened was there was some reports that he on his spare time was getting help from the hitting coach from our AA Altoona. And for some reason, after that year, they fired that hitting coach because we have no idea why, but they got rid of him. And he was Ke'Bryan Hayes' main hitting coach, and they got rid of him. We thought they were going to promote him. They fired him, and we have no idea why. It might have had to do with him helping Ke'Bryan Hayes because it made Andy Haynes look bad at the time. It was really, I really don't know how to go about why they got rid of him, but I know it did not make Ke'Bryan Hayes happy that they did that. And I mean, you look at last year and you look at this year, and he's one of the worst hitters in the league, if not the worst hitter for at least starting third baseman. So there's definitely something there if you can find it. And I think playing at Great American Ballpark is definitely going to help him. He does hit to the opposite side of the field a lot. So if you can just find something and unlock something with him, I think he could be definitely serviceable for you, at least offensively. You're going to get hit that defensively, but finding something that he once had is definitely a possibility if you guys can, have the right hitting coach, because we clearly do not here.
Let me ask you about this, Kody, because I don't know I have no idea if this is fair or not. I just saw some of this floating around on social media. There was some stuff that people were saying about how Brian Hayes just was not happy in Pittsburgh, and the whole change of scenery is a big narrative of this trade. Do you think that's a piece of this or fair?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely it's definitely a possibility of that being one of the reasons. I think the main reason, though, is where the Pirates are right now financially and just what the lineup looks like. They needed to get him off the books. I don't think they personally wanted to trade him, but just because of how reliable he is defensively. But he's getting paid around $8 million a year for the next 5 years. The offense is just so bad that they need to find something this offseason and use that money for something else. And he just isn't the guy. I think he is a good player overall just because of how good he is defensively. But it's just not a right fit for the Pirates, unfortunately. And now I think you have a good offense, a lot better offense than us. I know that might not be saying much for you guys, but if you're paying attention to the Pirates at all, we're like last place in almost everything. Every offensive category, we're probably in last place. So I'm sure you guys aren't much better, but you're better enough where you can handle hiding him in a lineup and just accepting his defense and accepting his flaws offensively, where he might actually be more beneficial for your team than the Pirates.
Tracy,
I would just say, obviously, I don't think that our fan base would definitely they would not agree to the fact that we could hide him somewhere offensively currently as we speak at this very moment. But we do have the fact. I think the thing that we're going to appreciate probably on this show the most is that there is service time that we receive, right? This isn't a rental player. It's not a guy that we're going to go out and trade prospects for, and then all of a sudden find ourselves in 2 weeks being 6 games behind the Padres and feel like we just wasted. We basically spent something that is already gone. That said, I did look up who his hitting coach was. Looked like it was John Nunnally.
Yes,
I guess
that was correct.
He looked like he had coached for Altoona. For those that are wondering, I don't think that he currently has a job. But I will say,
I truly think, and this is just putting my tinfoil hat on, I truly think he's blackballed. Because I truly think he got blackballed for going against the organization behind their back and helping Brian Hayes, because it made Andy Haynes look bad. I swear. I mean, like I said, that's a conspiracy theory. A lot of Pirates fans think that too, but it just did not make sense that he was clearly helping Brian Hayes, and he completely flipped the switch and ended up having that 2023 season, which was his best season. And then all of a sudden he doesn't get renewed or fired or whatever, and never has a job ever again.
John Nunnally would be he might be available, although I would caution maybe the Reds organization here. This is a tongue-in-cheek joke. This is what I try to do on the show from time to time, because I will say in 2005, while playing for the Indianapolis Indians, he did test positive for steroids, and he did receive a 15-game suspension. That is something we're trying to steer clear of here as we move forward in the Cincinnati Reds organization, is those suspensions from PEDs. But I digress.
As long as he's not as long as he's not gambling,
That's right.
Clearly, that's a bad thing right now for players and coaches. So
yeah, it's hard to say, but no, I guess the biggest takeaway is obviously just your overall perspective on the value that he brings defensively. You had just mentioned you think he's the worst hitter on the worst offensive team in the entire league. Yet when you were asked about whether or not he's a serviceable player, you said you think you still think he's a serviceable player, which again makes me think that I guess, again, you can always put the rose-colored glasses on, and that's what we'll probably do in for the Reds here at the beginning of this relationship that we have with Ke'Bryan Hayes is that I guess if worst-case scenario, he's going to be at least a defensive replacement, a guy like Santiago Espinal, who we currently already have. Best case scenario is he gets back to his former self as he once did in 2023. Like you said, he's one of the best third basemen in all of baseball. I guess any other final parting thoughts? Was there anything that from a personality perspective you felt like he brought to the table, or is it just kind of ho-hum?
Yeah, I'm not going to say he was the most enthusiastic player on the field.
Okay.
So yeah, you're not going to get too much out of him when it comes to that. But like I said, defensive runs saved. He has 16 defensive runs saved. You're literally going to get a gold glove this year. He's going to get a gold glove for you guys. I mean, it's not even close. Caleb Durbin is the second best third baseman for defensive runs saved, and he only has 8. So he doubles this guy in second place when it comes to that stat. So, I mean, you don't have to, like I said, there is going to be some benefit of having him on the team. Now, am I glad he's not on the team anymore? Yeah, I am. So enough. You're gonna get that out of me because I just think, like I said, for this team, it just wasn't a good fit. And hopefully he's a good fit for you guys. He'll probably end up being a Pirate killer somehow, some way. He'll probably have like an 800 OPS, by the time we play next time, and then we'll be like, well, Ben Cherington failed again. So that's just how the Pirates' luck goes. So maybe you guys will, like I said, find something out of him offensively, and I actually kind of hope he does do that, just because I do think he's never caused any issues or anything with the team. Now, like I said, he wasn't very enthusiastic on the field or anything like that. But from what I've been told, he's a good guy in the clubhouse, and he doesn't cause any problems. So that's obviously another benefit for you guys.
Was 2023 the year in which Pittsburgh got off to a relatively good start and then it kind of fizzled out? It's years run together for me at this point, but it felt like, Pittsburgh, I don't want to ever say that maybe you were in the pennant chase at the very, very end of the year, but if memory serves me correct, was that one of maybe the years that you were playing a little bit over your head for a while, or no?
Yes, that was the year we started out 20-8 to start the season. So yeah, we were doing pretty good to start the year, but surprisingly, Hayes was not. He's the one that, like I said, by I think the middle of June is when he started to turn it around. So
fair enough. All right. Well, I don't have anything, Nick, if you have something.
No, that's all I got, Kody. I do like Sammy Stafura, I will say. It was a prospect that I really liked, performed really well for the Reds. So I think you guys got a good prospect back for him. So I would be excited about him. But, Kody, I really do appreciate you taking some time and joining us today and giving us your perspective.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Like I said, best of luck with him, and best of luck trying to get in the playoffs.
All right. Thanks, Kody.
Thanks, Kody.
All right, good stuff.
I would have done this with Kody on, but I didn't want it to be too disrespectful. But it's like it's got to be hard to be positive when you're losing 95 games a year. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm saying that as nicely as possible, right? Like at some point it wears on you. Like I'm tired of this. Like we're not good either, but I'm just saying.
Well, just think of like the vibes in late April. Everyone's watching this team saying this team has no energy. They're lethargic. And now they go and they sweep the Rays over the weekend. And, oh, my gosh, this team has all the energy. They want this team to go for it at the trade deadline. Like, right? This year we've seen both of that. So, this is just, how I look at this is he's not going to be a bad player for the Cincinnati Reds. And I know people aren't going to want to hear that because of the offense, and they want offense so bad. He's not going to be a bad player. Like, his floor is a guy that's going to be a Gold Glove defender, and that provides some value. That makes up for a lot of the hitting. And it'll be interesting to see this because have we ever seen I'm trying to think, like, in Reds history, great defensive third baseman who
not third base.
This is probably Scott Rowland. I mean, and Scott Rowland probably wasn't even as good as
Scott
Brian.
Rowland.
Yeah, I don't think we actually saw.
Right.
I mean, I think this is like better than 2010 Scott Rowland. I mean that's
right.
we haven't seen this, so it'll be interesting to see kind of what that looks like. And you know what? I mean, like the biggest positive out of this is that Reds ownership just took on money. I mean, take away your hate of Brian Hayes' offense. The Reds ownership just took on a multi-year contract,
right,
for dollars. And yes, they gave up one prospect, but it was about giving up money. So, I mean, that to me, that's a breath of fresh air. I mean, I didn't think this was. If I had told you yesterday the Reds are going to take on a guy that's signed through 2029, well, I mean, it's not a ton of it. Was that 13, 14 million a year? I'm trying to think on the fly here. That's not chump change. So shout out to that. I'm thrilled about that aspect of it.
I am shocked by that a little bit, largely because I've said this before. I'll say it again. The CBA is a huge deal to me. I think people are underestimating the CBA. I really do. And I don't even want to say I hope I'm wrong, because I really think that things need to be fixed in this league. They need to be fixed. And there's a lot of issues that go on. And I don't know what those contracts look like after kind of the CBA gets negotiated, but I would assume that they're going to get grandfathered in, Nick. So there's going to be a little bit of a time frame here where you're not going to get penalized for having, certain amount of money on the payroll. When reality comes, I think that there's going to have to be some. Again, I don't want to get into the salary cap situation, but to your point, I didn't expect the Reds to take on a whole lot of money until after that whole CBA becomes a thing. So, yeah, there's a bunch of people in the chat that are clearly upset. Like, oh, this is who we get. Like, this isn't the end. If you think that this is what the Reds have decided to do to try to basically fix their offensive inefficiencies, I say this humbly as possible. Like, that's not it. It's not what this was about. This was a longer term play, in my opinion, Nick. This was about the future. And I know people want the now. And you know what? They might go out in the next hour. They might have Yandy Diaz. Like that's a possibility. They might, who knows, maybe Taylor Ward from the Angels. They find a way to get him. I don't know if they're going to get that type of player. And as we said before on the show, it all depends on who's available. Taylor Ward's a guy. You said it yourself. Is he even available? Like, are the Angels actually even going to let him go? I don't know. But the truth of the matter is like, this front office has got to start finding ways, in my opinion, to take some stabs at some lower risk players and continue to try to develop the farm system in the way that they have. But they are going to have to take some risky shots. And this is one of those riskier shots, in my opinion, from a financial perspective. It's not the prospect risk, but it certainly is going to be capital that our fan base is going to look at our payroll and they're going to say, well, if Hayes doesn't pan out, they're going to point to the fact that he's getting paid what he gets paid. But as we've said before, it's funny. We don't like Santiago Espinal. The large portion of this fan base is because of the way he's been used. If Espinal was hitting ninth on one of the top 10 offensive teams in baseball and all he did was play defense, he would be adored. Like, we would appreciate what he does, but we don't, because we are absolutely fighting tooth and nail to try to find people that can hit the baseball on this team. And that's what he's going to go through at the beginning of this relationship. It just is, Nick. People they're not going to care how good he is defensively, because they're going to be like, well, this didn't fix anything. We still have problems. Well, if the Reds don't go out and find other areas to help fix the offense, then I would say that's not Brian Hayes' problem. That's not why he's here. If he comes in and he's an average defender, right, and he still hits the way he is, then we can be upset and say we swung and missed completely on this. But I don't think that's the case. They need a first baseman. So I don't know how many more times I need to say it. Like, we sit here and we point at all these different players about, if you have an elite third baseman defensively and you have an elite shortstop defensively, right, and I would say you have an elite catcher defensively, they could all be below average hitters, and you could still have a very, 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 very good baseball team if you fill the rest of the spots up on your roster with guys that can actually contribute offensively. And you mentioned we have a great defense, Nick. I still think we have we have some issues from a corner outfield perspective. because we have a bunch of platoon guys currently, and I know TJ Friedel not being there last night really hurt too. I mean, I don't think people give that enough credit either, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that was a cause, and I also think the fact that the Reds have had to use Austin Hayes as a DH and not out in left field to try to preserve him. I mean, I think that's had a big impact as well.
I have a question to that. I know we'll do our show later, but it's probably gonna be about the game. We didn't really do a show last night. When Hayes is available, and I guess you have to DH him. So I don't know. I guess I don't know the lineup rules well enough. Like you can't. Could you forfeit the DH in a spot like that and put him as a defensive replacement late in the game, or no? Is that not a thing? I really don't know.
What exactly are you proposing?
I'm saying, like, why don't we ever consider putting Hayes, right, like in left field towards the back end of baseball games, like we put in Santiago Espinal or anyone else? Like, if Gavin Lux is out there in left field, like at some point, is it not okay to play Hayes just a couple innings?
And then you'd have to try to, I guess, pinch it for the
pitcher.
But
when you're in the 7th inning, you might have to pinch it like one time. I guess if you go into extras, you could get screwed, but it just seems like the risk of that would be so low.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean,
but again, how many times
that's a lot of moving parts to just like
might
not
be easier
use a
just
guy
to left fielder.
Yeah. One thing on this before we move on to, I guess, Safura, people are going to want to know the impact on Sal Stewart, what our thoughts are on what they might do next. One thought on this is I hope now that this is done, Noelvi Marte is clearly now a right fielder.
Yeah.
Please, God, play the guy 9 innings. Like, it's not this is, you're clearly moving him now. You're not having him start at third, move to right. Play him the full 9 innings. Let this kid learn and take the good and the bad.
I got a better one for you. Ready?
Yeah.
He's a left fielder. And he stays there the whole game because we already have people that play out there that aren't good anyways. So it doesn't matter. And if you want to play whoever you want to play in right field, that's fine. You can platoon those guys. You can mix and match them all you want. But you're not taking out the left fielder. He stays there. And he stays there the whole entire game. And we already have done this all year long by putting Gavin Lux in left field. And we've convinced ourselves that Gavin Lux is an outfielder when he's not. We've tried to, this organization does this way too often. We try to convince ourselves that Nick Senzel's an outfielder when he's not. The reality is that I'm with you. He needs to just stay out there and play out there and get comfortable out there. I think I'd prefer him to be in left field. It's in my opinion, in our park, it's a much less difficult area to cover than right field because of just the way the ballpark dimensions kind of become. Now, I know why they didn't do it last night, Nick, because they had Gavin Lux in left field. And if you had your choice, which one do you want to put in right or left? You definitely want the guy that's a little more athletic in right. But if it was up to me, I would put Hayes in the DH spot if you're really worried about his health. And then, if you want from time to time to make sure that you can get him, I guess what would be Gavin Lux in the lineup, then you can move him there. I'd also say, Nick, as crazy as this sounds, I'm not opposed to putting Gavin Lux at second base if Matt McLain can't start playing a little bit better. I mean, at some point, you gotta at least entertain that idea.
Although I think McLain has out-hit Gavin Lux the last 2 months. Yeah, I'll pull up the numbers here in a second.
I know they're all bad.
And McLain's at least going to play great defense there. So this is kind of leading into the next kind of talking point here is kind of feels like the Reds have position players to move now because you're not trading for Brian Hayes for him not to play every day, right? He's playing third base. They're putting him 9th in the lineup, and he's there for the rest of the year, unless there is something I'm completely missing on this. So now that you do that, I mean, you don't have to put Gavin Lux in the outfield anymore unless you're not playing Noelvi Marte, which would be asinine to me, the way that he's hit on an offense that can hit. So if you put Marte in right field or left field, whichever one you have Fraley, Benson, whoever in left field, Friedel in center, Austin Hayes the DH. You don't even have a spot for Gavin Lux. So, I mean, could they be trading Lux? Could they be trading Fraley? Could they be trading Benson? Could they be trading Friedel? I mean, could they be trading Austin Hayes? I mean, it feels like they have got to trade at least one, maybe two position players at this point.
I agree with that. Also, to clear something up, because I just randomly see it in the chat, maybe there'll be people that listen to this in podcast form if you do break it up. When I say Hayes DHing, there's only one Hayes on this baseball team that should be DHing. It's Austin, okay? If you can't keep up with that, then I don't know how to tell it to you. Just come on, keep up. You know what I'm saying? No, we're not going to have the guy that's currently have a 60 OPS plus that's got 25 defensive run saves up to the season DHing, okay? So yeah, I know that you guys think I'm an idiot sometimes, but I'm just saying, like, if we can't comprehend that part of it, then it is what it is. Let's keep it moving.
I thought that was pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, obviously not. So,
what does this have? What does this impact Sal Stewart? I think that's probably the next talking point that people want us to talk about.
Yeah,
I think it puts pressure on Matt McLain.
Definitely.
I mean, I think it's okay, McLain. You better learn how to hit, big boy, or Sal Stewart's going to take your position. I don't know. I haven't seen enough. I mean, I like Gavin Lux. I liked Gavin Lux. I haven't seen enough out of Gavin Lux the last 2 months to think he should play over Matt McLain. And you can hate me for that. I just haven't seen it. And it would feel weird to go get a defensive. I don't want to say defensive first. It's like a defensive only third baseman.
Right.
And then play Gavin Lux as second base over Matt McLain. Like, it kind of feels like, why would you prioritize one or over the other? So for me, yeah, I mean, I think Sal Stewart is now pushing Matt McLain. It's also not completely out of the question that the Reds make this move and Sal Stewart gets traded. I mean, it would have to be a great trade. It would have to be a player with multiple years of control. But that's now gives you that option as well. Sal Stewart, I think, could also probably play first base. Or you know what? Hell, Sal Stewart could be the third base, second base, first base kind of roving guy, maybe.
The old Spencer Steer.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say I'm being positive today. I'm being positive today because you know what? The Reds didn't go out and get a third baseman for 2 months when they have a 10% chance of making the playoffs. So I am positive today, brother. I am positive. Let's go.
Did Gavin Lux have any semblance of value at all?
I would think so. I mean, he's a cheap, cost-controlled player that you still have next year as well.
Yeah, he's a free agent in 27.
I'll give you. People are gonna hate this. Trade Austin Hayes and make Gavin Lux pretty much your DH. Obviously not against left-handed pitching, but you'd be trading Austin Hayes at a much higher value. Again, if Austin Hayes could play every day in left field, I am so much more excited about him. But when he's a DH only, you kind of go, have we got the best out of Austin Hayes too this year? Right. Like, he almost feels like a guy that the back of his baseball card, I don't think he's been super fluky, but is he the next 2 months? You're trying to figure out the next 2 months who can do whatever. I would be open to it at the right. Again, it's all at the right price.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to what this front office thinks that they're doing. I mean, I don't know. They've not really shown their hand yet whether they're buying and selling. I mean, you could make the case that they're selling right now.
Oh yeah. This trade has
trade
absolutely nothing towards any hint of which way they go.
I think there's people right now that seen the Reds made a trade and they're thinking, oh man, they're starting to make moves.
Yeah.
They're trying to, this doesn't mean they're buying. This doesn't mean they're buying at all.
It doesn't mean they're selling either. I think
doesn't mean either one.
This is like right down the middle of you could go one way or the other, because this is clearly a move, in my opinion, more about trying to get a player for the next 4 years than for 2 months.
100%. Yeah, that's a long-term sign. This has nothing to do with it doesn't even address what this team needs to get to the postseason. So clearly to me, it's an obvious long-term play. You're buying relatively low on a guy that had showcased, like, for instance, if you would have went out and tried to get Brian Hayes after 2023 and or his rookie season, his first rookie stint, you would have been paying, you'd had to move mountains basically to try to get him. Now you got him for what was a prospect that you could say was buried on a depth chart to a certain extent, and you gave up a left-handed reliever that you didn't care about, and that's that. So this doesn't change anything. I don't mean to make it to seem like it's not a big deal. It's a big deal in the sense that they have given themselves flexibility, but it hasn't changed anything for this season. If you only care about 2025 as a fan, you still got to wait. You got to wait a whole nother day to figure out what this whole thing looks like, in my opinion, Nick. As far as moving players, people are asking, like, let's move this guy, that guy. If Matt McLain is incapable of hitting, okay, then at some point you have to ask yourself, is there another option that we think could be a little bit better? You're not moving Matt McLain to any other positions because that's the only value you currently get out of him at the moment. So if Sal Stewart comes up and, let's just say Haynes is, and let's also say this, Nick, if this baseball team is serious and they go out and get some real help, I could argue that Ke'Bryan Haynes just becomes the Santiago Espinal, except exceptionally better. It doesn't mean that he's going to play there. I know that. I'm not stupid, but I am going to openly say if Matt McLain starts tearing the cover off the ball and Sal Stewart ends up being a legitimate big league all-star type player. And again, these are all hypotheticals. And let me tell you, that's pie in the sky type stuff, is to hope both of those things happen. Right. But if it does happen, that just means that you have a utility player that perhaps you could use some flexibility for from time to time. I don't think the Reds are thinking that way because how much they're willing to pay him, but it's just something to think through.
Yeah. I think they're going to, I think he'd have to, I think he'd have to almost be worse than he is right now. I mean, he's still, again, I don't think people understand how elite his glove is and how impact that can actually be to a pitching staff. I don't know. I think some people maybe will see it when they see it with their own eyes. Now that this guy's for sure going to have a throw here his first play. I mean, I 100% see that coming. First play.
Yeah,
that's the most obvious thing that'll happen, but I will see that. I mean, in terms of this year, if Santiago Espinal is your third baseman, which, yes, I know he hasn't been starting games, but he still kind of is the Reds' third baseman because Noelvi Marte can't play 9 innings. Ke'Bryan Hayes is a significant upgrade over Santiago Espinal. I mean, Santiago Espinal this year has a 64 OPS plus. Ke'Bryan Hayes is at 59. Ke'Bryan Hayes is an elite defensive third baseman. We're talking 14 defensive runs saved. Santiago Espinal is +1. So it is a significant upgrade. It's not the upgrade that people feel, but it does contribute to winning.
Yeah, it's not a big enough of an upgrade to actually move the needle to make it to where this changes much, to be honest, in regards to 2025. This to me is you know what this is? This is like going out and getting Luis Robert. To me, this is what this is. This is the type of move that this is.
Go get him too.
Yeah, I say it.
That would be awesome.
I am all for that. Let's go out and let's find some guys that at one point in their career probably had really high expectations. Do you not think that the Pittsburgh Pirates at one time thought that Ke'Bryan Hayes was going to be one of the top 10 players in Major League Baseball at his position every single year?
The Pittsburgh Pirates signed him to $70 million. They must have.
Yes. The answer is yes. Luis Robert Jr., same type of player. They both have they're on the lower end of what their value is, comparatively speaking, of where they've been. I am all for going and getting those types of players. So you're not going to hear me complain. There's this, I guess, for a guy that has been told that he's toxic, complains a lot, downs the organization, is always negative. There's not a whole lot here for me to say you could be all that upset about. They just have not done anything to hurt themselves. They spent money. I mean, if you want to complain that the ownership group spent money, you can do that, which I guess some portion of the fan base might, but they didn't do anything to hurt themselves. They quite literally did nothing to hurt themselves. Now I say that, and Safura will probably be like a perennial all-star and, whatever, but it's just pie in the sky type stuff here. If you're thinking that this moved the needle, to be fair, but at the same time, I don't think that's what this was about. It's just not. I mean, everybody's looking at the trade deadline like it's you gotta find something that can help you in 2025. This was not about that. And I mean, I don't mean to be negative. That's fine, but that's not what this is about. We'll see if they go find some help, but it wouldn't shock me if they're sellers, just being honest.
Well, we'll see. I mean, the Padres are about to get their game underway right now. So by the time we come on tonight, we're going to know if the Reds are 2 games back, 3 games back, or 4 games back.
And such a big deal.
I mean, I really enjoyed it. I listened to Clay and Craig about 2:30 a.m. As I drove in between Columbus and Cleveland last night. And I enjoyed their show, but Clay said this Dodgers series doesn't change anything about Reds being buyers or sellers. I'm just like, I don't know if it's a huge difference being 4 games back or 1 game back. I mean, there's like 50 games left. I mean,
they could have been up. I mean, I'm not trying to say they should have swept the Dodgers, but there's a chance that. I mean, I know the Padres ended up taking care of business, but like,
well, and Padres shouldn't have swept the Mets, which they could do today. Which exactly. This whole thing is just it's nuts in how much it can change over the course of the day. Which I guess is maybe Clay's point that it could change again, but I think you have to kind of look where you're at and make the best educated guess on where your odds are and what's realistic or not what's a long shot and what's not. On Stafura, he was the one guy that I said I thought was maybe the most expendable of the Reds' like top prospects. I liked him a lot. I mean, he has done nothing but play well since he got in the Reds organization. He's still a really young player, but with like kind of the emergence of Tyson Lewis right behind him, that's kind of pushing him. It felt like he was maybe the most expendable player. And I'm not going to give this away, but I actually talked to someone in the organization. And I had heard that Stafura was maybe one of the most expendable players. And it just, I mean, it felt like that. Like if I was the Pirates and, they're so far, they're so like far out of it right now in terms of like what they need. Like I would be pretty happy if I was the Pirates on this deal. Because like the Pirates are interesting because, the Reds fan base, this is the worst offense ever. The Pirates are like at a whole nother level of bad. Like it's not even like we're talking 78 WRC plus versus like 96 for the Reds. Right, that's like that's like the difference between the Reds. That's a bigger gap between the Reds and the best team in baseball. Like that's how far of a gap it is. And then also like in terms of spending, like the Reds are, I think, quite a bit ahead of the Pirates in that regard too. So I like this. I like the potential of this move. I'll tell you what I like the most is how many people absolutely hate it in the chat. I actually think that actually bodes maybe the most well. Like if there's an indicator on whether or not something's going to work or not work, it's typically how many people hate something. I'll go there. I mean, people are acting like this is the world's worst trade. And we can't have it both ways on this channel. If we ever bring up the fact that we don't want to give up prospects and we don't want to move too many guys because we don't want to mortgage the future, everyone's going to sit there and say, well, these guys aren't big leaguers. They aren't big leaguers. You can't, how hard it is. We got people in the chat telling me that Sammy Stafura is hitting his OPS in the Florida State leagues higher than Hayes. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's probably I would hope so. I mean, what the hell do you think? Like, no offense, but CES is basically a Hall of Famer in AAA. Right now, they're erecting a statue for Reese Hines in Louisville. Like, there's a reason that guys do better in the lower levels than they do when they get to the major leagues. And I also need to remind everybody, like, at least Ke'Bryan Hayes has been in the major leagues for quite some time, and he's provided some semblance of a value at least at some point somewhere. And I'd also, again, not to get overly crazy, but he was, and again, it's only 40 games or 24 games, 95 plate appearances. So I'm not even going to use it, but it was a 201 OPS plus. No, just don't account it. But then he goes 86, 88, 103, 3 years in a row. He was just slightly below an average hitter in Major League Baseball, or he's an average hitter. And if you're going to tell me that you're going to get that big of a defensive upgrade
with a guy that's going to hit a little bit below league average, we're going to take it. Now, the problem is he's gone 61 and 59 the next 2 years. I'm not naive to that. But like, it's a decent stab at it. And don't come back to me when the guy's next year playing out of his mind and he's looking like Barry, I'll say Barry Larkin, but I was going to really think Brandon Phillips. I mean, if he looks like Brandon Phillips at third base, there'll be plenty of what number is he going to wear? I guess he can't wear 13. So what is he going to wear? But we'll find that out later. But there'll be plenty of jerseys roaming Great American Ballpark with it. I mean, there was a Candelario jersey last night, so I guess the bar is not very high. But
this isn't going to kill the Reds' payroll either the next several years. Like, yes, it is nice that they took on salary, but he's making $7 million in 2026, $7 million in 2027, $8 million in 2028, and $8 million in 2029. Go find you a Gold Glove third baseman for cheaper than that. Like on the free agent market for any of those years on a 1-year deal, even if the guy hits like he's hit now, it's going to cost more than that. So it isn't going to kill the Reds. He's making basically almost the same as Taylor Rogers made this year.
Yeah, he played 100 games when he was 24 years old. He played 136 games the next year. He played 124 games the next year. He played 96 games last year, and currently he's played 100 games this year. So I see people in the chat saying that he's injury prone. The hell are we talking about? I mean, have we watched our baseball team? Like, we have guys that have played 8 years for the Reds and haven't accumulated, let alone 576 games. They haven't accumulated 300. But we don't want to trade Nick Lodolo because he looks so good, but yet he's not on the field half the time. Like, let's pick a lane here. Like, Nick Lodolo's hurt every other month, but we don't want to get rid of him because he looks like he is quite literally maybe the world's best pitcher. But it's just like, you can't win for losing. I get it. That's part of it, being a front office and making trades, especially when you have the flexibility that the Reds have. There's just not a lot of room for error, if we're being completely frank. And they have missed on some guys. Moustakas and Candelario are 2 big swings and misses that a lot of this fan base knows about. We'll see. Let's make a fun little game here before we jump.
We got a bunch of supers we got to get to.
Yeah, we'll do the supers. Buy or sell. You got to pick which one you think they'll do. Which one you think that you would consider it? I mean, they might do both, but which one do you think they'll consider that's what they actually did?
I think they're going to soft buy would be my best guess. But I think if the Padres win and the Reds lose
tonight,
I think there's no way they're going to buy. There's no way. I mean, but again, it depends. Are they? Or if there's another like deal like this, I don't think it really matters for this year. Maybe they'll try to find another one of these deals. I hope this fan base. What do you say?
I think they sell.
I think they sell. Okay.
I think a smart franchise would sell. I do. Yeah. I think a smart, and I even told you this. I know people are going to think I'm flip floppy on this whole thing, and I kind of have been to a certain extent, because there's times where you sweep the Rays and you're like, holy smokes, we're 1 game back. Let's do this thing. But I have said for weeks, Nick, I will defend myself a little bit on this. I have said for weeks that how long would I wait until I made a decision on what I would do?
You were right on it. Yeah.
I mean, you have to. That you played too good of a baseball team, because it's just so obvious to me that there's a good chance that you could get swept by these guys. That's how good they are. I mean, you can sit here and act like that's not a big deal. Like, that's how good they are. And if you get swept and somehow the Padres sweep the Mets, we can be naive if we want, but we get 3.5, 4 games back at the Padres with the schedule that they have in September versus what we have.
And this is an excellent point as well. I mean, if the Padres pick up a game today and are 4 games ahead, like, you have to think they're going to be way more like, hey, we got this wrapped up. We've got to be aggressive and buy too. So, I mean, there's a lot that changes today. I mean, there's 2 and 4. I still don't love the spot of being 2 games back. I still think you have to be looking at multi-year guys, but I'm fine with them. I'm fine with them buying multiple year guys for sure. I would, if you're 4 back, you should be selling the piece. You should be selling any of the pieces that aren't nailed down beyond this year, And also, I mean, exploring some of the other ones. I don't think they'll explore the other ones. I don't think they have that in them, but we'll see. All right. I want to say this before we do supers. I hope can people please just give this guy a chance? Can you give him at least a couple weeks? Can you at least kind of wait and see what the defense looks like and if that actually has some value? I think that'd be pretty cool. I think he deserves a little bit of a chance.
He will.
All right.
He'll get a chance.
You reading them? You want me to read them?
I can read them. Big Red Machine. I've always said I love the Big Red Machine. It says this is a very, very good trade, but still more to moves come. I think sometimes I gotta try to reread these things. This is a very, very good trade with still more moves to come. People need to understand this is a Gold Glove guy, and Marte becomes our right field big bat. Hayes, key term here. I got to make sure I specify this. That's Hayes. With multiple years of control, I like it, says the Big Red Machine. Thank you for supporting the show. We got Nate Seltzer coming in, says, I better see, quote, we have designated for assignment Santiago Espinal, end quote, soon. We do not need Hayes and Espinal. Sal Stewart, welcome to first base as well. Let's also beat the Dodgers tonight and avoid the sweep. Thank you for being a member, Nate, for 16 months. That's big time. We also have, I want to add something to that really quickly. Let's be very careful about just automatically assuming that these prospects that are going to be here come up automatically are going to be great. It's just unfair to Sal Stewart to think he's supposed to be the guy that comes in on the white knight and saves everybody. It's just not realistic to expect that. The guy wasn't even expected to make his major league debut, in my opinion, until 2026. It just seems like just because this guy got red hot, we did that with a lot of other guys that currently are sitting in AAA, or at least one of them is. I'll tell you what I would say. I would ride or die if we're in the selling mode. Give me CES and let me just see it. I want to see it for 2 full months, and if he's the world's worst first baseman, by God, that's fine. We can be done with it. But I'd like to see it. I mean, I've already seen enough out of the first base DH spot enough this year to see that it's not good enough offensively. So that's that. Big Red Machine says Hayes, ES, has been playing very unhappy in Pittsburgh. We all would too. New team will make him happy and he will hit better. We hope so. I'm not totally bought in on that. I mean, I think that's a little bit of rose-colored glasses mentality of thinking that, if he just comes to Cincinnati, it'll all fix itself. That's what they've always said about us, I don't know.
There's a chance. There's a chance.
Of course, there's always a chance.
Keep it as a chance. There's a chance. There's reason to have some hope that it could happen, but it's a chance.
Exactly. Justin Edgel says this is an insulting move. That's funny. I mean, it's funny. At least he got me to laugh. I like that. Big Red Machine, man. Did he get paid today or what? Golly. We also may have recouped our Candelario debacle with multi-year control. Still like the trade. New environment with proper hitting coach. And he gets to play next to Ellie. Big Red Machine's just
proper hitting.
He's just kind of corporate America, twisting them words around. He's just what's a better way of saying exceptional, exquisite? Let's use that one. Sounds more elegant. It's all right. I like it though. New environment with proper hitting coach. That's what they always said about the Cincinnati Reds. Got one of the best hitting coaches in the game. That's what I see on the chat every single night. Boy, when Valleca gets a hold of him, he is going to be ripping fastballs over the fence, just like everyone else we have on this team.
Is Big Red Machine Valleca's wife?
It might be. I don't know. All I know is that Valleca is under the weather more times than not. Ned Flanders says, Didn't we hear the same story when we got Kevin?
Oh, come on, Ned.
No. You're gonna compare concrete feet Gavin Newman to Ke'Bryan Hayes. Come on, man. Gold Glove defense, but light on the hitting. Does this move the needle in 2025? We've already touched on that. That probably Super Chat was a while ago. No, it does not move the needle at all. It does. You know what this is? This is a, in my opinion, a buy low type on a guy that they think that can only move up. You've seen the worst baseball that he could possibly play. At least that's what we're hoping.
He's better than Espinal. I think he has a profile that could get hot easier than Espinal too. So
yeah. It's going to be really sick.
I'm
when
not
we turn around
counting.
It's going to be really sick when
counting
Crawl turns this around and he trades Hayes to someone else for something, and then all of a sudden we spend an hour talking about how he could change our franchise.
I did that once on an old show for a Rule 5 pick. Spent like an hour and he got turned around. I was like, oh,
yeah,
not getting that hour back.
Here in an hour, it's going to be like Hayes and Hayes. They're headed to wherever. I don't even know.
Well, and then I could jump on and just say, Brian Hayes sucked. That guy was terrible.
That's right.
What a bum.
This guy, he didn't really care about playing hard,
character
team
issues.
Guy. Although Kody did say no character issues. I did like that. I think basically Kody, what's funny about Kody? I think he basically had the same sentiment towards Hayes as we do Espinal to a certain extent. It's like, you guys can have him. Really good defender. You'll like that. We'll see. Fortson says Sports Track shows Hayes ES contract 2026 $7 million, 2027 $7 million, 2028 2028 $8 million, 2029 $8 million, 2030 $12 million. Am I missing something? That seems very cheap. You know what's funny about that? The more you mention it, you know how we always do this in sport? I did it. I think I did it personally when Pat Mahomes signed his first deal. And then all of a sudden you realize like 3 years later, you're like, they're paying Pat Mahomes how much per year? It's like, how the hell did they get away with that? Well, I bet I would love, there'd be nothing better, Nick. In 2029, if you got a guy that bounces back and has one of the best, one of the best career turnarounds you've ever seen. You got a guy that's one of the top 10 the third baseman in the entire league, and he's making $8 million. Just food for thought.
That would, that would be
or
nice.
He's DFA'd in 2027, and we, whatever. That's possible too. Leave it at the table. Said, if this is one of the moves, I'm cool with it and love it. If this is the move, I got complaints. I think we all have complaints as if this is the move. In fact, it's so far away from being the move, it can't be the move, right? You know what I'm saying? It's almost like what's a horrible. I'm always good at giving horrible analogies. I don't know. It's almost like you feel like you show up at a wedding and someone gives you a card and there's like nothing in it at all. And you're kind of like, in the back of your mind, you're thinking like, there's got to be something more than this card, right? And typically 99.9% of the time there is. I would say that's what this is. There's 0% chance that this front office was like, you know what we need? We need help offensively. Let's go out and get Brian Hayes.
When ironically, it might be wanting this to be more moves, and some people are going to want to be more moves one way, and some people are going to want it to be more moves the other way. So,
all right. There was a post that was made today about Hayes and his chronic back injury. We'll get to that in a second. Grant Tharman, 7245 says, look, what's that?
I was going to say this last one, but then Ned Flanders just pumped another
Look
one.
at Andrew Vaughn's stats this year with CWS and Milwaukee. CWS obviously is the White Sox. It can happen.
See, I wouldn't go too far into. I mean, I get the sentiment, and yeah, I think that's possible. I mean, I think a new environment can certainly spark. I think that sometimes can be a little overblown, though. So
here's another super chat that came in that made me laugh. Ned Flanders says, "Last night was fun, guys. Thanks for the shirt and stern lectures about Luis Robert Jr. Best YouTube show out there. Thanks again."
Wait, was Ned Flanders there?
I guess that's my favorite thing about when we do these things is that nobody really wants them to know who they are. Like I didn't know that Ned was there. Ned's an all-timer though. There's another super chat that just came in. Alex Unzer says, Tito's rolling in his boat chair now. Who's he gonna pull to throw Espinal in for the seventh? Oh, that's funny, dude. I don't know. I think it's gonna be funnier when he pulls the DH, and I don't even know if you can do that. I don't think you can, but it would be funny. It'd be funny if you could just start pinch hitting Espinal for the DH.
Is Espinal gone? Does Espinal get optioned? Does he get traded?
I don't know. I don't really know. I tell you what. I'll tell you right now that you're not going to like it, and I don't think many of the fan base would like it. But And the reason for that is because his value is insanely low. But like Matt McClain's another guy that you could make a case that if they, I'm just telling you, they're not going to get anything for it, so you don't do it. But maybe there's a team that loves Matt McClain, and they're like, you know what?
Yeah, I think it should be the Cincinnati Reds.
Well, yeah, it could be, but I'm just telling you, there's you could make it the case that I don't know. I'm not going to rule anything out. So who knows? As far as there is a quote here. Espinal to right field from Marte late in games.
Stop it. Get out of here.
All
Get
right.
out of here.
We're done with that joke. The bad news, there's a quote here that came out of what looked like a story out of Pittsburgh. There was, quote, the back injury that I have, it's chronic, end quote. Hayes told reporters per MLB.com, Alex Stumpf. It's not, quote, it's not something that's ever going to go away. It's just how good can I manage it to where my symptoms are almost non-existent. That's the challenge I have. This offseason, I dedicated it towards anything that I can do as far as the recovery stuff, the diet, all of that. That's something I'm going to continue to hit on the head with a nail every day just to be out there, end quote. So I guess maybe that's what they had mentioned for the injury history. I don't know. Sounds like a guy that maybe wanted out of Pittsburgh too. I don't know. That's what I'm going to go with. I'd have a chronic back problem too if I had to play for that team every single day. That's all. Of course, all due respect to Kody.
Yeah.
Now you're digging up chronic back injuries currently.
No, I was reading something else. Resident 4 tweeted something out, retweeted someone who said that Hayes' career average 11 homers, 84 WRC plus, and 3.1 wins above replacement per 162 games. If he played in Cincinnati, it would be 17 home runs, 90 WRC plus, and 3.4 wins above replacement. Fresno 4 is retweeting him. I'm assuming that he's someone that has some sort of actual calculation that gets that. So it's not going to hurt him to play at Great American Ballpark. Didn't hurt Austin Hayes.
I will tell you this. He needs to get back to his former self significantly more than the fact that the ballpark's going to help him play better.
Yes, I agree. 100%. 100%.
Like the fix is not really going to be just changing ballparks.
Yeah.
I do think that the culture, the scenery, the whole 9 yards of that could help. Yes.
It's got to be energizing for him. I mean, for sure.
Think so, yeah. He gets to play. He does get to play next to Ellie, and I know some people are going to like make that to be like it's not a big deal. I think that matters.
You going from Isaiah Kiner-Falefa to Ellie De La Cruz?
Yeah. Boy, they got him too, man. They got a bunch of Santiago Espinals.
Maybe they just confused the IKF.
Why didn't we include Espinal in the deal back over to them? That seems like that would have been even more funny.
Yeah, it kind of feels like,
Here, we'll give you a player.
It'll be interesting to see if Espinal does end up somewhere.
Does he got value to a team that's got unbelievable team, and you're looking for a guy that can come play defense late in games? Because I would say that he does, but I don't know. I really don't know the league.
He has hit lefties well throughout his career. I know right now it feels like the dude can't hit anything. He has hit lefties really well throughout his career.
That's fair.
So, like, if you're a team that desperately needs someone to hit lefties that can play multiple positions, I mean, I think that he helps.
Right. That's fair. If you haven't already, please do us a favor. Hit the like button. That would mean a lot to us. We appreciate that. And we try to be on here live as fast as we humanly can to have fun discussions on what's going on, not only for the Reds, but anything that else affects the Reds. So many of you maybe are in here for the very first time. We are going to go live in the 9th inning of every single Reds game. So if you haven't checked that out, you can check that out tonight. Hopefully it's the Cincinnati Reds finding a way to beat the Los Angeles Dodgers for the first time this series and put themselves back within 2 games of the wild card. If it's not, and they're 4 games out of the wild card, I am going to assume that that we probably are going to be drowning in our misery a little bit, and then also talking about how we can find ways to do that. And Nick, you can promo the
pregame shows starts in an hour and a half, so we'll be off. Join for the pregame show. Who was it? My phone has just been blowing up, obviously, this afternoon. I think it's Max and Ricky are doing it at 6 o'clock. So join those guys. Content all day. Chatterbox Sports. Let's go.
Yep. Nick, anything else to get to before we head off into the sunset?
No, just a reminder. Make sure you're subscribed here to Chatterbox Sports. Hit that bell. Turn on notifications so you're notified anytime we go live. I've got the next 25.5 hours booked off. So if anything happens, hopefully someone will call me if I'm asleep, and I'll wake up and I'll roll out of bed and do a show. We'll roll. And we'll be live at some point tomorrow for the trade deadline. Just going to kind of feel it out a little bit, but I'll be live when it goes across the goal line at 6 for sure. We'll go live probably much earlier than that, but again, turn on notifications.
Massive game tonight. I know people want to make things out like they're just one of 162 sometimes, and for the most part, they very much are that for the vast majority of the season. But the truth of the matter is that there's decisions that are currently getting made as we speak, in my humble opinion, on whether or not this baseball team is 2 games out of a wild card or they're 4 games out. And maybe they'll sit at 3, and then at that point, that is an incredibly difficult decision to make. I will not envy Nick Kroll and his gang on what they have to do at that point. But I will openly say, I think, in my humble opinion, whether you're 2 games out or 4 games out is the difference in whether you buy semi-aggressively or you sell and you just move on from a lot of those pieces that perhaps could help you, like Hayes. And by Hayes, I mean Hays. All right.
Equally as big of a game just got underway. Mets and Padres, top second, no score. Clay Holmes against Yu Darvish. So, yeah, I mean, you could be 2 games back or 4 games back at the end of the night, and that's a incredible swing.
Final thing as we end the show, this shows you how difficult of a decision it is. I put out a poll. Should the Reds buy or sell end of the year free agents? Buy, 48%. Sell, 52%. Not an easy decision. It's not an easy decision. And we find ourselves sitting right in the middle of it all. All right, we'll be back better than ever later. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. We'll be back maybe in 30 minutes when we find out they flipped Ke'Bryan Hayes for somebody else and we wasted an hour doing the show. Till then, take care. We love you. Appreciate you. Hit the like button on the way out and enjoy your night.